Hello, and welcome to Live from the Pool House. We are live from the Pool House. I am TL Foster, and I am joined by my ever-gracious co-host.
Comic-Con's only Sonya Ballantyne. Hey.
The only person from Comic-Con.
Well, it was offline, so they were looking for a bunch of people this year.
I didn't get my invite again, so Mr. Comic-Con, I'm very upset. I would love to talk to you guys about my comic book ideas. But we are joined by a guest, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And yeah, so guest,
hi,
go right ahead.
I'm Nikki, Nicholas Grayson from fanbyte.com. I'm the social editor plus over there, and I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on here, Nikki. Nikki is like one of my favorite podcasts listen to. Like the Fanbyte Office Hours West Coast edition is hilarious.
Thank you. We have a lot of fun on Weeko.
It's so good. But what is your history with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
So I have probably seen every single episode of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But if I had to, if you asked me to give you the kind of broad strokes, I wouldn't be able to because I haven't watched it in so long. Because it was mostly on TV when I was a kid. And then my dad through a couple of people, my degree of separation to Will Smith is actually probably 2 through my dad. So he knew people who would be on the show because he was in the LA comedy scene at around the same time that Will Smith was.
Cool.
So a lot of it was my mom watching the show and being like, oh, that's that person or whatever. So yeah, that's basically my relationship with it. I really like the show.
Right.
But I haven't watched it actively. This was probably the first episode I'd seen in maybe 5 years.
That's interesting, and I also, like I said, you're from LA.
Mm-hmm.
I always wondered people who may have been around that area a little bit more, how this show reads out to them. Sonya's from Canada and I'm from Florida, so it's always it's looking into a window you would never see.
Yeah,
but you're actually from LA, so do you find from what you've seen, stuff you've seen, it's kind of indicative of LA?
Yeah, the crux of this episode, which I don't want to throw off y'all's schedule, but the crux of this episode, which is that base at the core of it, there's a homeowners association dispute because Will and the daughter's name immediately forgot. Ashley, yeah, they've decorated the house. And then the people who live in the neighborhood get angry is the most unbelievably Los Angeles thing that could possibly happen, especially in that area. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it tracks. The thing I hadn't realized though is how different do they move? Is there an explanation? Why is the house not the house?
Well, it changes in season 2 to what it's actually going to look like for the rest of the show. It's just bizarre right now to see it so different right now. I'm not sure why they shot it that way.
Is there any explanation? Is it just season 2, or did they do it like they did Aunt Viv, where they just didn't say anything?
They didn't say anything.
Season 2, they're here's the house. It's always looked like this.
Well, look, they called I was about to say house flippers. What are those?
Yeah,
I don't know any.
The Property Brothers.
Property Brothers.
They called the Property Brothers, and they were like, "Hey, Property Brothers, come make the house look entirely different."
It's so, like you said, it's so especially these episodes aren't the ones that were in heavy rotation in syndication.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would see it, and you're just okay, where is this? This looks nothing like.
I legitimately thought the first couple of shots, I was like, "Oh, this must be a room." That must be upstairs, and then they kept returning to what is the living room, and I was like, oh no, they're just, I guess, is a separate set that they introduced in the second season that is the house,
right?
But you know what, that tracks for NBC in the early 90s. So
no, absolutely. Well, Sonya, let's get into this episode in proper then.
So we are watching episode 15, Deck the Halls, which first aired December 10th, 1990, right before the show took a break until January. So this episode was directed by Jeff Melman and was written by Shannon Gaughan. And so this episode, we drink wine and make angels in the snow. So the episode starts with Jeffrey giving a puppet show to Will and Ashley, which came off as something Ashley has seen before, because she had that air of oh my god, this story again, I hate it. And I really love the voice Jeffrey uses for the reindeer. So it's a very cute show.
Will loves it though.
I just love Will is so like, Ashley falls asleep and Jeffrey leaves annoyed that he cannot compete with TV and the new children on the block. So.
Yeah, he's like all this bad entertainment like Nintendo and MTV.
But I wanted to ask y'all, did you believe in Santa Claus, and how long did you believe in him?
I think I stopped. So it was weird. I distinctly remember when I knew Santa wasn't real, and it was because like around Christmas, I must have been like maybe 6 or 7. And like the computer was in my mom and my bedroom. And like I remember taking a nap and then waking up and then watching my mom like hunt and peck like on the computer, like she was typing labels that she was then going to print to put on the presents, and she was typing to Nicholas from Santa.
Aww.
And I was like, what? It was like, to who? From who? And then that was when I realized, but I didn't say anything for a while. And then when I turned 8, like my mom had my sister, so like it was kind of implied that like I was done with Santa, and now Santa was only for my sister.
Aww.
So yeah.
Yeah.
What about y'all?
I grew up in Europe, like when I was younger, right? So I was in the Netherlands. So I never really like.
Wait,
Santa
sorry.
Claus,
Do you speak Dutch?
So I used to be able to speak Dutch and German, and I can't speak either.
Aww.
Damn.
Because like when you went to curriculum, that's what they do. They're like, oh hey, you have to learn how to speak German, you have to learn how to speak Dutch, and then I came to America to like forget all of that.
Forget all of it.
You'll never
use it.
So Santa Claus was like, it was a big deal, but it wasn't. So like it was like the Saint Nicholas stuff, right? And the big thing I remember about Christmas wasn't just like the Santa Claus stuff, but was also like the Black Peter stuff.
Right.
Which if you guys don't know, in the Netherlands, like they have Santa has a helper who may or may not be a character in blackface. Who would beat children if they were bad. Like I distinctly remember being in kindergarten and the teacher explaining like this happens and saying that her son was grabbed by somebody at the store because they were acting up, and I just remember as a kid like, that's fucked up. Like, what's going on here? So I never, like, I like the idea of Santa Claus, but I never, like, fully believed, like, oh, hey, here's Santa Claus. Also because I never had a chimney. Like, my parents were in the military. Like, we never had, like, where was he going to come from? But we still did the whole thing, like, in the Netherlands, they do the thing where you leave your shoes out, and they put, like, tangerines and Tootsie Rolls in your shoe.
Weird combination.
It's very weird, but, like, so that was my thing, but I never really, like, fully believed on it in Santa Claus.
Well, 1 second. Hold on, could we clap again? Because my phone rang and cut off my recording. So, before I mention my Santa Claus, 3, 2, 1... All right, so I believed in Santa Claus right up until maybe I was 10, because my dad had less than a happy childhood, so he was always encouraging that magic that would live in us. So, but I found out that Santa wasn't real when I got up once and snuck a peek outside my grandma's house and saw my dad taking the presents out of the car. So I'm like, and it wasn't that big of a deal to me because I'm like, I always knew that like my parents had some hand in it because sometimes, because my birthday is so close to Christmas Day, I would often get a combination birthday and Christmas present. So I'm like, well, if Santa was real, wouldn't he just wait until Christmas?
Yeah, wouldn't he just wait? It's just more efficient,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. And
Did y'all ever like find the spot where your parents
Yes.
were hiding their presents?
my parents used to hide them in a shelf above our washer and dryer. And I knew immediately that they were something we weren't supposed to look at because they were wrapped in garbage bags. So
that's a good cover.
So it used to be my mom's closet until me and my sister, because we're like 18 months apart. We found it. So then she would start just leaving it in her trunk of her car. Because she was like, well, then you guys can't come and look at what you got.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they start getting presents, like, my mom... Also, all presents are, like, wrapped the same, so I would just go through, it's like, oh, I know this is a video game. I know this is close. Like,
Yeah, my mom did the same thing. Like, she asked me to go get something, I guess forgetting that the presents were there. And I was like, yo, what's all this? And she was like, And then, like, mysteriously, by the end of that night, like, all of the stuff was gone.
that is hilarious.
So, yeah.
But we do mention in this episode, Will firmly believes in Santa Claus, and he says there's a bit of a thing where he's like, Milli Vanilli doesn't exist. Santa Claus is real. Yeah. And so for those that don't know, Milli Vanilli was an R&B band during the late 80s, early 90s who were found to be lip syncing their songs.
Well, okay, but I push back on that because, like, yes, the performers of Milli Vanilli were lip syncing, but like people did do that music.
Yeah, Girl You Know It's True is a really, really good song. Yeah.
Like it slaps. Like that's good. Milli Vanilli is better. Like it deserves more than just to be a joke. Because like some of those songs are good.
The thing that I thought was bizarre about this episode is that I thought there was going to be some sort of resolution about how Will Smith, 19 or 20 years old, continued to think that Santa Claus was extant. And now they kind of never resolve that at the end of the episode. There's no, like, Will, you know Santa's not real, right? Like, at no point does anyone say that to him. He's like, he goes to bed that night being like, yeah, Santa Claus is real, definitely real
tonight,
person.
Yeah.
And he's coming tonight.
But I love this show for, I find it really, really funny that whenever the show mentions somebody that will later guest star on the show, so there's this bit where Will is writing out his Christmas list, and he's like, he asks Ashley, how do you spell Vanessa Williams? And she'll show up, I think in season 3, playing the pregnant sports reporter Danny. And, like, it's really funny because they mention, who else did they mention? Like, the guy who they mentioned the man who ends up playing Will's father in later seasons. I can't remember the actor's name. And it's just really cute to me because I'm just, like, not just because, like, black actors are a small group or anything, but it's, like, it is so adorable to me when they do stuff like that.
Well, I mean, and also to kind of bring back Nikki's point, like, he thought Santa was going to bring him a whole ass woman for Christmas.
A whole person.
like, let's take away her
What
agency.
else is on this list, bud? Like, your uncle is rich as hell. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, I guess, if your uncle's rich, you didn't, like, if you're going to ask Santa for something.
That's why I'm saying it's so confusing. The lore on this is so confusing. Because does Will Smith think that Santa Claus is real? Or does he not or is he just like, does he think Santa Claus is real for like the spirit of it?
We know that Hillary has connections to people, so it's like, why doesn't she could totally convince Vanessa Williams to stop by and say hey to Will or something? Yeah,
Evander Holyfield shows up.
We'll get to him. But I would say maybe he thinks Santa's real. So I think we have a reason. So obviously, like, the Banks are rich. What if, like, every year, like, Uncle Phil was just always sending Will's families like these presents because they could afford it, and his mom probably couldn't. So that would explain.
And then instead of being like, this is from Uncle Phil, being like, this is from Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, that's cute. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's good. I like this headcanon. We're getting somewhere. This is good.
But I also know, like, so one of the big things about this episode is how Ashley feels really isolated right now because of Christmas and everything. And I know how she feels because, as I said, my birthday is very shortly right before Christmas. So it was always one day after school would let out for the holidays, and I would usually have a few people come out to my party, but I remember I would get loads of combination birthday/Christmas presents. And as I get older, no one is really around because they're doing Christmas things with their family. So, like, it hit me a little bit exactly like the way Ashley's been feeling. So, it's just a bizarre situation. Sorry, I'm just grabbing my food from the door. But yeah, like, have you guys ever had this like thing where you want to hang out with friends but you can't, like during Christmas time, or is it still just a family thing for you?
Christmas for me. Oh, go ahead. Tio.
Oh no! You got it. You got it.
I was gonna say Christmas for me, like, very recently became a familial thing, or a friend thing. It had always basically been like, I was hanging out with my family until I basically was like, I actually don't like doing this anymore. So right. I won't. Like, I just straight up won't anymore. So now, especially now that I moved out of my mom's place last year. But in the years prior to that, like, I was basically like spending as little time around my family around Christmas as I possibly could, just because it was like, I was like, I don't really want to do this. This feels like a big bummer to me. So I'm gonna hang out with my friends, and I was able to do that pretty efficiently, at least for the last like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's so weird to me. Like, Christmas, I'm a lot like Nikki. I like to do my family stuff in doses. So, like, we talked about when we talked about the Thanksgiving episode, like, that's when I'll get my family, because it is a day and there's food, and I don't have to, like, and there's football. Like, I don't have to deal with you if I don't want to. Like,
exactly.
It's literally an idea. Like, Christmas,
and it ends.
Yes. Christmas to me, like, with my family, we literally, when I was living with my mom, what we would literally do is we would either do this on Christmas Eve or wake up like really early because we're terrible and just open up all the gifts then, and then just be like, and now we're done. We don't have to go and deal with anything.
That's what we did.
Yeah, it's just like, we did this, now we're done. But with the friend stuff, so when I was younger, the first thing I started doing, like, we would always have friends who would be like, we have nothing to do during the evening, so we would like go to like a hookah bar and stuff. But I've started to celebrate Kwanzaa.
Aww.
So that's been very because like now it's like integrating
6 days long.
Right, you're integrating another week of celebration and then getting people in. So that's been a challenge because it's like, hey friends, I want you guys to celebrate Kwanzaa, and like, I don't know a lot of black people here who celebrate Kwanzaa, and I'm not going to celebrate Kwanzaa with white people. Like, it's a weird thing. So, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, I get the burden of like, oh, I want to hang out with people, but also like, hey, Christmas. Like, I used to just like, that was my, hey, you got a brand new video game, and that was all I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's only my experience is like, oh, hey, I got Sonic and Knuckles. I'm just going to play this and don't talk to me.
Well, for me, I think it's more like now, back in the day, it used to be all about presents and food. Like, I used to just, because as I mentioned in the Thanksgiving episode, any holiday with turkey was the holiday in my family where everybody got to eat as much as they wanted and not have to care about, not sharing, but like we would not have to conserve our food intake at that time. So like, I would just stuff myself silly at Christmas time and at Thanksgiving. And now as an adult, my mom is on kidney dialysis, and so she is often gone for days at a time because of treatment, and Christmas now is the longest possible time we get to spend together as a family. So it's become like more important to me in that context, because like as an adult I can afford to buy myself the cool presents I want. So it's like, I'm embracing the fact of like spending time with the people I like and just doing that, because like I have nephews, and like, I'm not trying to spoil them until they can tell me outright what they want for Christmas. So
Right.
like they're
Then you can
they're-
be like, boom,
yeah, they're both under
2
5.
fortnights.
So I remember this last Christmas I bought, his name is Pork Chop, like not his real name, but I'm not gonna out his name. But
No, his legal God-given name is Pork Chop.
So Pork Chop last year I got him Star Wars pajamas, and he immediately whipped off the pajamas he was wearing that night and like put them on.
Yeah.
He's like, I need this right
That's
now.
good.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
once they ask me outright what they want for Christmas, like they say like, Auntie, I want a PS5. Then I'll be like, okay, you're getting a PS5 then. So
Yeah. I think that's like the mark of being old is like when and like not in a like a pejorative way, but it is like the second you realize that if you want a thing, you can just kind of get it for yourself, or you can make the plans to get it for yourself.
Right.
Like that is kind of the thing that like recontextualizes the holidays specifically. I mean, like at least for me, because that was the realization that like it was like, well, I actually don't need to rely on other people to kind of like bring the physical joy out of these situations. I can kind of, if I'm chasing that bliss, like I can do it myself. The thing that is like most interesting to me about the holidays is the fact that it is the only time during the year where like people are, at least for me, like all of the people I love and care about are in basically the same place for an extended period of time. And that stuff is cool.
yeah, because like,
Oh,
go ahead, DL.
Yeah, it's just like said. This is gonna be a really weird one because this Christmas will be my first Christmas with a niece. My niece is supposed to be born in October.
Aww.
Yeah.
So like I am
baby Christmas.
like exactly. I'm just like I'm like ready, and my mom was like, "Oh, just like, oh, you ready for your brother to have like?" And this is my baby brother having his daughter, and I'm like, you don't understand. That is going to be the most spoiled child.
Yeah, it's baby
ever,
getting everything.
Because it's just like it's over.
Getting this baby a car.
Like I'm so excited about that. So like you guys said, it does recontextualize like what Christmas is, because like now I'm not thinking about, oh hey, here's what I'm going to do for myself. Because like you said, like if I want a PS5, I'll just buy a PS5.
Yeah.
But like if this baby's like, oh hey, I want a Barbie. It's like, oh, hey, here's every Barbie ever created by Van.
I walked into the Target, I put my hand into the shelf, and I went like this, clearing every single Barbie into the cart.
Well, and I don't.
I think,
and I don't think it is like later in the episode, Uncle Phil said, like I think it's Aunt Viv who says Christmas is more for kids in a sad tone, but I think it's fun to make it about kids, because kids like just want the simple things, like, oh, I want like this car, or I want this doll. Like it's fun to make it happy for them. Like that's my favorite part of Christmas, and doing like good things. And
especially it becomes so I mean I don't know, speaking for myself, like I know I'm in a very specific position, but like speaking for myself, like it is so, remembering how hard it was as a child to be like, I want this, and then like watch my mom like do the fucking math in her head that is like, can we do that? Can I do that? And like now being where I am and being like, oh, my sister's like, I want something. It's like, word, boom, easy. And like it's so comforting to know that it's easier for me, and B, like easier for her, because like she doesn't have to worry about it.
That's my favorite thing about being an adult too, because like me and my sister found out that one Christmas my dad was in foster care, and he really wanted a specific hockey jersey for Christmas. And he had to watch while his foster parents got him nothing, and they got their biological kids all presents that he had to watch them open.
What a dick move.
And so
wow.
when we found this out, me and my sister decided that we were going to get the specific jersey he wanted that Christmas made for him, and I've never seen him cry that hard at a gift. And so we also got him one year, his favorite hockey team is the New York Islanders. So one Christmas, we decided to get him a trip to go to New York to watch them play on their home ice. And again, cried. So and it just feels good to do stuff like that, because it's the experiences that mean more than the actual things. So
and they say that pain childhoods aren't useful. Wrong. They are useful, because it makes it easier for people to buy you stuff later on.
Exactly.
Oh man.
But
God, that story just made me so mad.
It's such a bummer. I can't believe they would do that to a child.
And he was like, like, and back in the day, like, my poor dad had problems with his legs too, so he was kind of like, he was like differently abled, and so these people were just jerks, and like my dad is the nicest man in the history of time.
Terrible.
But yeah, like, oh yeah, he deserves all the good things that I can give him now. So, but so. As a person from an actual cold climate, I really hated seeing people wearing thick scarves in California. Like, it's so weird.
I mean, listen, it's what it is, though.
Look, we get cold too. Just because, like, we don't get in the negatives, like, it gets cold. It's cold.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing. Okay, so two things. One, I wanted every single outfit Will wore in this episode.
He has good stuff.
I think legitimately I'm going to start watching this program if only so I can get style ideas, so I can start lifting my guys' outfits wholesale, because every single one of them in this episode was a banger. But I think the wildest thing is that, like, even though it was like very 90s, every single outfit that was like overtly winter is so unbelievably Los Angeles, because like the second it gets like 67, we're like sweaters, scarves, hoodies, the biggest, chunkiest sweaters you could possibly imagine. Get all of that stuff out, because it's like there's a want to participate. And all things considered, relatively, it's colder. It's a 30-degree temperature swing if you think about it. So it is way colder.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing I hate, because I live in Jacksonville. We're a port city. And, like, people were like, oh, I'm from Minnesota. It's 40 degrees. Why are you guys cold? And I'm like, because it's cold to me. Like, when it's 80, everyone's like, oh, it's so hot. It's like, no, it's not. It's fine.
Well, I just looked up what the conversion was for 60 degrees, and 15 degrees Celsius is what I go swimming when when the second it's 15 degrees in summer, I'm swimming in water. So I'm like,
it's cold. Listen, that's cold. It's cold because it's cold is why it's cold.
Yes.
Like, it's like as soon as you make the decision, like cumulatively as a city, that we're going to act like if it's cold, then it's cold. It's kind of how it goes.
Do you guys wear the goose down coats there too? Like the
Not really. Nah. So like it's a lot of like sweater and scarf work.
Okay.
Like we don't really do
layers.
Coats because like it's a lot of that stuff. In December it does get like, I don't know. My favorite time in the city of Los Angeles is like November to like the first or second week of January, because the weather is so perfect. Like it is like it's cold in the morning and then it warms up enough to like actually be peak 72 and sunny, and then in the evening it's cool again. And then that is like, to me, perfect LA. And like it smells different around that time. Like the city smells different. And like I just really like that time of year. And like just seeing all of the sweaters and scarves and stuff in this episode, especially of the kids as they like came into the house, that is like, I know for a fact it's like 70 degrees outside, even though it's like 8 p.m. I know it's 70 degrees and these kids are still running around in like velvet and the chunkiest knits.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think it doesn't, like, the one thing is, like, LA and Florida, like, LA and Jacksonville, like, we're kind of, like, same kind of temperate, because, like, just where we are skewed in the world. And, like, yeah, like, we won't wear, like, full goose downs or, like, North Face, like, because it doesn't get that cold, but, like, there was a time, like, 10 years ago where, like, I would, like, it would be like, oh, it's October through February, here are my list of sweater vests that I would wear every day. Because I was a sweater vest guy in the early 2010s. So, like, yeah, like, I agree with Nikki. Like, I love, like, that fall weather where it's, like, it's not cold, but it is, like, you get that nice wind of coolness. And it's just, like, it's so great. And, like, perfect time, like, get, like, a cider and stuff. Like, it's just, it's good. It's good, like, it's just good weather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, here it's like, it's horrifyingly cold. Like, people, like, even when my province is incredibly conservative, and they would ship off like homeless people if they could, but even in winter here, places open just to keep people warm overnight, because you can totally die in the type of temperatures we have here during the winter. And so like it's always funny to me, whenever I go to places like Toronto, to see people wearing thick ass coats when it's not the temperatures that gets here. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
People are cool. But it's a wet cold there. Like, wet cold is worse than...
Wet cold is way worse.
Yeah, wet cold is
way
terrifying.
worse.
Yeah, I went to a film festival in Toronto in October, and it was a wet cold, and I've never been that cold in my life. I felt it down into my bones. I was like a Victorian maiden, basically. I'm like, ooh, a chill to my bones. So.
Yeah, I think the last time I got to really wet colds, I went to Rhode Island to go visit a friend. It was right after like Valentine's Day or whatever. And then like at first it wasn't cold, and then she was saying like, oh, it's gonna be like a flash snow. Like, okay, and like it literally was no snow, and then all of a sudden snow, and I was just like. Just murder me. This is the worst.
Yeah, that's what PAX was. Like this past PAX was like you would be inside the convention center and it was like totally fine between like all of the people and the fact that it was like a heated building. But then the second you would step outside, it would be like, oh, my body hurts. Like this hurts my body. And then it would get windy. John and I, editor at large at fanbyte.com, John Warren and I had an appointment to go see a game called Fogs. And like we walked from the rep was like, oh, it's a short walk. It's like the hotel that we're staying in is like 3 or 4 minutes away. And then like 15 minutes into the walk as we're like a mile and a half away. He's like, we're so close. So we ended up walking for like 30 minutes in 15-degree weather to go play a video game, and it was like, I couldn't possibly, under zero circumstances, could I ever live and do this again.
But back to the episode real quick. So Carlton's Glee Club shows up, and I love that we get to see Chad and Cornflake again, especially Chad, who I have a crush on, despite his hair looking terrible this episode. But I dig this is one of the first time that Alfonso can show off his singing. I think this is one of the first episodes where he's allowed to do that. And Carlton mentions that the Glee Club is booked for a holiday party, but they're asked not to sing carols. So I think they should have just hired a Streisand drag queen or something.
Can we... the song that they're singing is I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Which, like... Will's right. The song is buck wild as it is. But, like... In the year of 2020, and like the fact that not to get so blue on the show, but like that is now just a Pornhub category.
Yeah, it's
like
just a video. Song. That's a video that exists.
Exactly. It's just like it's like what is. How is this song's like? Hey,
music used to be bad. Is like the thing that music used to be really short and really bad.
Yes. And also they talked about like, oh yeah, Barbara Streisand just comes to the party. It's like, what kind of weird eyes wide shut party are these kids going to?
And they're trying to pay for their like skiing trip or something, right? Like I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And skiing is such a weird thing to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in a bunch of rocky places, but I'm like, why would you want to go down a mountain that fast on something like? We used to like go sledding and stuff, but I'm like, to stand up on a board and run head first into a tree is not like my idea of fun. But I don't know. I'm not rich. So.
I can't say anything. I as long as I skateboarded for, I will never judge anybody for doing stupid stuff.
So we see Hillary on the phone buying Christmas gifts for her famous friends, such as Sting, Kevin Costner, and Patrick Swayze. Will doesn't believe her that she knows any of these people, which I found silly because she was, in earlier episodes, she was rolling with, like, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, and, like, she knew a bunch of people already. So it's like, even if she's not best friends with them, she knows these people, or at least runs in their circles. So it's like, but I just love that she's buying, like, buying like some really adorable things for people, like chocolate covered pretzels and stuff. But like I don't know how she has the time to buy for that so many people. Like I buy for like max 6 people, and I'm like I'm done because I'm like
yeah. There was one Christmas where I was like I'm gonna get everyone I know something, and it was just like such an unbelievably taxing process that I was like actually sorry, like, sorry I can't. I actually can't do this again. And I haven't since. So like. I think the line she gives is like she's on the phone, she orders one and then is like actually just do the same thing and then lists 3 more people, which is like right. You know what, that rips. Like I love that. Just like do it once and then just like copy and paste it. They're not gonna talk to each other. They're not gonna know. Yeah. It's the thought that counts.
For like,
yeah. Well, I would think like it would be like the equivalent of like she sent out like auto DMs. Like for her, like yes, what is this? Like,
that's what this is. Like that. That's exactly what this is.
These are just auto DMs of like, hey, Merry Christmas to you. Person I sent this to.
Yeah.
This is specifically for you.
Insert blank here.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
no, you're
but
good.
I was like, yeah, like, I think that's a good idea for people that you have to kiss up to, just sending them the same thing. That's a great idea.
Yeah, if I was tasked with sending something to Kevin Costner, I feel like chocolate covered pretzels is a pretty good.
But
like, who doesn't like chocolate covered pretzels?
But what is it? I want to know what he's sending her too. It's like
nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Which is like why I. Fuck that. Like, if I'm Hillary, if you're more famous than me, it should be like a hierarchy. Like, if you're the more famous one, you should be sending.
But I think the game is that you send them stuff so that when the next time you're at their place, you can be like, "Did you get the gift I sent you?" Even though you know all you did was send $25 worth of pretzels, it's just a bag of flips is what you sent to Kevin Costner. What Kevin then does is A, not remember that you sent him the pretzels, but B, he's like, oh shit, she likes me enough to send me gifts. I have to invite her back.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the play.
Yeah, that's her her end game.
Yeah, that's the play.
It gets her to the premiere of The Postman.
Exactly. So it gets you in the door.
So,
yeah.
So the parents are off to an office holiday party where Vivian will be the only repeat.
My favorite bit in the episode. It's my favorite bit in the It's so good.
Oh, about the wives, where she's the only repeat? Oh, I just love that.
Yeah, the pacing on it is kind of weird, but it is a very good joke.
I just like Vivian being like, how many new wives are there going to be? And Phil is just like, let me just say it, put it this way, Vivian, you're the only repeat. Like, he's like, just the feet in his voice is just adorable.
It's very good.
And Will...
There's also...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It is also, when they come back from the party, is one of those very rare... they're actually driving the car in that shot. They're not... Like, the car's not on a truck. Like, they're legitimately driving that car in that shot, which is fun.
It was really... I thought that was really cool. I love that... Again, this episode's like almost 30 years old. We have not changed of like, oh, hey, these partners, they're all now married to their secretaries. Like, should we be looking at this? Is this a thing? Is this something that we should be looking at and saying like, hey, maybe this is weird?
Yeah, it was like, because like secretary, the coffee girl, I think that was the 2 that were mentioned. But yeah, it was like kind of... Ewy, especially since some of the girls were named like Heather and like really young sounding names. So I'm like,
well, that's what she stated. She's like, they're all going to play with like their Barbie dolls. It's like, oh, they're all probably like as old as Hillary, if not younger.
Yeah,
like,
and we find out later in the season that Vivian is actually closer to 40, so she's not that old. Like she's our age roughly, like maybe a little bit older, and like. Man, that's so creepy to me that these people are like because we see Uncle Phil's partners later, and they're probably in their 50s or 60s, and it's just like, oh, it's so gross to me. Oh, but like, I really love Will reminiscing about Christmases back in Philadelphia. It's so, like, it was so adorable. Just, like, even some of the dark stuff where he's like, yeah, like, hobos were making snow angels in the snow, and, like, the cops are coming to break up the party, and stuff. Or what was he saying? They fired, oh, yeah, like, it was time for the midnight police sirens and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, my God, that was adorable. Just, like, the happy memories. But I remember, when I was a kid, the people who ran my reserve, like, my Indian reservation, would buy every single kid under 13 a present, and they would get one guy to dress up as Santa and drive a snowmobile all around the res to deliver these presents. It was really, really fun. One year my dad did it, and my sister and I were like about 5 and 3. And, like, my dad comes in and he's like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, little girls. And I'm like, Daddy, why are you just like Santa? And he's like, I'm not Santa, little girl. And I'm like, Daddy, I recognize your boots. So, and my sister was just like, hi, Daddy. So he just, like, gives the presents over to us. But, yeah, it was, like, one of my favorite memories of back home is, I think it's one of the things I'm going to bring back when I get a little bit more wealthier to do it. That was one of my favorite memories. Sorry, I'm just stretching. But
No, you're good.
Christmas for me has always been snow. So I understand Will's confusion about spending it in California. Like, I think it's probably different for you guys because you grew up in not like warmer climates, so snow is not really that of a big thing. But I remember when I went to Australia in December for my birthday. It was so close to Christmas Day when I left that it was so weird to be surrounded by all these fake snow decorations and have it be 120 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. It's like, wouldn't you have, like, Santa in, like, shorts or something? Or is it just, like, the North Pole aesthetic that people want? I don't know.
It is weird that, like, that is the part of the Christmas story that, like, kind of bled over. There's a bit where they go into the store in Beverly Hills to, like, get the decorations. Or no, it's after that part when they're already back and Aunt Viv is like, we have a nativity, and it's just a bunch of glass orbs, and then Will is like, which one is the baby Jesus? Is it the disc? Just very funny. But it's like, I think that is, there's such a range between like what the Americanized version of Christmas is to that it is spread across like the West, as it were. Because like you were saying, like Santa in Australia, even though it takes place during the summer, Christmas does, is still like coming from the North Pole and my guy is cold.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is bizarre, but
yeah.
And how it be.
Yeah, it's like it's always been like weird to be like, so Christmas to me has never been like really religious. Like I didn't start going to church like around Christmas time till like I was living in Alabama, and that's when I was like going to a lot of church. So like the whole, even like the whole Jesus nativity stuff, like it was never like growing up, it was never a thing to me. It's like, okay, like I guess there's a baby. Like I guess
I know thing. I know why we're here, but it's not why I'm here.
Exactly. It's like I'm here for this, the fat man in the suit. That's my guy. So like it's I think it's also weird, like you guys said, like just because every part has like their different Christmas, like, so going from Europe where we have like this whole thing where it is the whole month of December and you have all this stuff and you have the Advent calendar, and then coming here and it's like, all right, you have like a week and this is when we do the Christmas stuff, and then we'll build up the Christmas and you buy stuff like it's all commercialism, but then here goes, but like all that celebrating stuff out the window. Just here's the Christmas stuff. It was always weird to me.
The thing that I think hit me the fastest, I think it happened recently. It must have been like the year I graduated from college. But like I never really noticed the speed at which the US is done with the holidays. It is a lot very fast, and it snowballs from Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, and then like the stuff that happened, the Hanukkahs, your Kwanzas, like your Ramadans, all that stuff happens so fast. But like the speed at which on like the 26th all of the Christmas stuff is gone, and on the 3rd all of the New Year's stuff is gone, and then it's just like weird and cold, and you're like, oh, this is weird. So like the thing that like I made like a concerted effort to do, at least like in my own house, was like kind of keep that energy going for as long as we could. Like we got our tree pretty early, and like we like didn't take the tree down until like the first week of January. Like we like kind of like tried to sit in it for a little longer and like try to take it a little bit slower.
Right.
Because it was just like it stops so quickly.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing this for the last few Christmases that me and my sister have lived together. That I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but we have Remembrance Day, which is like November the 11th of every year. And after November the 11th, we put up our Christmas tree until about the first week of January. Because like our grandma used to be such a hog of the Christmas stuff, and we weren't allowed to put it up until like December the 1st. And so now me and my sister just like decorate as soon as we can and decorate the way we have always wanted to. So our tree is like just a mess of like nerdy ass ornaments and stuff. So it's like Nintendo characters and Star Trek characters. We have like the Super Mario star at the top of it. So
that's cool.
Nice.
And so,
I think the bar is like whether or not your local drugstore has Christmas stuff out, then you know that 3 weeks from that day is when it's appropriate to start decorating.
Oh yeah, I will decorate
because like
whenever,
right now we went to the grocery store not 2 days ago, and they're already like loading all of the summer stuff out, and they're bringing in like the Oktoberfest and like the fall beers and stuff. And it's like, y'all, it's still August. It was 85 degrees yesterday. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So just play it a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. To us, like the Christmas stuff is always right after Thanksgiving, like Black Friday. All right, it's Black Friday.
Yeah.
Put the tree
Christmas.
up. Tree up. It's Christmas time. Go. But this is gonna be weird because like this is like I said, I moved out in January to my own house. I don't know if I'm gonna do a tree. Like I'm not.
Oh, you gotta.
Gotta
do
like
a tree.
Even a tiny one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a small one.
Yeah, that's true. I could do a small
Yeah, a small one, and it doesn't even have to be real.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do real trees.
Okay. Yeah, just get a tiny one.
I can't do all that sap, all the pine needles. That's a lot. There's a lot going into that.
I love real trees.
Yeah, like when I was like 6 years old, we used to get real trees. But my dad is a firefighter, so he stopped getting them because he knew how dangerous they were to have in the house. We used to cut down our own. We just go to some random part of the woods and just take one from there.
Yeah, this is a tree.
And a tree, yeah. So he's like, this is a tree, proper one. And like, I do miss it because there's nothing like a real tree in the house smelling up the place, so it's like really cool. But like I do enjoy having a fake one, like because it's really nice to have and stuff. Like I even have a tree that I keep at work, which is just like a tiny ass Charlie Brown tree. That's the one I keep in my work, so just for cuteness size. But we see in the episode we see what Will and Ashley have done to the house, and I personally miss all that cheap ass tinsel that was so popular in the early 90s. I just love that shit. It's just so gorgeous and so cheap. I just love it. I
love how fast they did it. The implication that like they went from the place in Beverly Hills to the Pick and Save, and then just like bought the Pick and Save out, and they were like, all right, well, here we go, and like redid the entire house.
Is a Pick and Save real?
So good. Yeah, Pick and Save is a real place.
Absolutely.
Well, it used to be a real place. Now it's called Big Lots.
Okay.
But like Pick and Save was a real extant store.
Yeah. If you think about how much money they would have saved though, of just like from what they're going to do, like we can all say that the guy's Christmas idea like was kind of whack, like the avant-garde, like this was my interpretation of Christmas. It's like guy just wants some green and red and like just give me something that like cheesy and like the big black Santa that he got out of nowhere. Which I know he had to go. He had to go to like 3 different like stores to find that Santa. I remember our buddy Chris Antista, who's been on before. He was telling me when I was in Tallahassee, he was like he went to Walmart and he saw like they had like outside like they had like this big I don't know if it was like a wooden or like but a black Santa statue, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you like $40 for it. Like we'll take it, like we'll get rid of it for $40. Like that was bought and gone. Like I definitely had to get rid. I had to get it right now. So like, I know he had to go find it, but like I don't know. Like he would have saved saved so much more money just going to do something cheesy than something over avant-garde.
Well, and in the time frame, like we can guess that it was under 3 hours that they were able to do this, and
it's incredible. Yeah, and well, don't let anybody tell you that Will Smith isn't a magician.
Because they lit up the whole house. They have a bunch of like huge ornaments outside. They directed the inside of the house, and it's just amazing to me because I love that Jeffrey is a big fan of Christmas and secretly helped Will and Ashley decorate.
Yeah,
like he was the one who probably did most of the stuff outside, and so he's like he strapped a reindeer to his back and climbed the roof, and like I just like how cute little arm gesture he does to Ashley when Ashley thanks him for helping them with the lights. He just like touches her arms like a dad would. I just thought that was sweet. It's just like adorable. Ashley is his favorite child in this family, so I'm just like, oh, it's adorable. So as Nikki mentioned, people start complaining immediately about the house, and Will answers the phone and exchanges some harsh words with some guy on the other end who says that he's coming over. And when he arrives, it ends up being Evander Holyfield, who comes in looking positively pissed off. Like, yeah. I would have like shit my pants if he came in looking like that at me.
I'm about to say, like, at this time, this was, wait, did he win the gold medal? But this is a guy who's like, this was, so, at this time, Evander Holyfield had not fought Mike Tyson. But that was literally the fight everyone was building up to.
Yeah.
So it would have been tremendously scary to see Evander Holyfield. But I want to talk about these people real quick because, like, especially, like, where we're at now in society, this came off as really racist. Yep. Like, they're just like, oh, well, we wouldn't want these types. Property taxes would go down. It's like...
Yeah, it's like, what? Are you trying to sell your house like tomorrow, bud? Like, what are you? First, what do you mean the value of the house is gonna go down?
Or like the reputation of the neighborhood is somehow limited because it looks like you shopped at Kmart. It was like kind of like really classist and racist.
It is incredible though because like if you drive through that neighborhood now during Christmas, like all the houses look like that. Like they all look like that now. So it's like, it's just such a weird twist that like they've gone, because like now it's like they're trying to outdo each other. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, so it's like all of them are pretty gaudy and pretty lit up. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like none of this stuff that I saw in this episode was like atypical of the city of Los Angeles. But yeah.
But Evander Holyfield comes in and knows Hillary. But didn't know that she lived there. He just was coming...
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, he was just coming to beat up Will. So...
Well, think about it. Like, they don't hang out at Hillary's house. So, like, they'll like, oh, Hillary, you live here? I didn't know that.
I guess.
Oh, but, like, it's so funny when they have the... Because they mentioned earlier that the president does live nearby. And they have, like, this Ronald Reagan impersonator come by who says he loves the lights and... but it is kind of racist and stuff.
The most evil person has to come by and say, hey, this is great.
Yeah, he's like, so great.
I don't know that much about Ronald Reagan. I know that he was the president during the AIDS crisis and was like, nothing's wrong. And like, that's all I know about him. So it's like,
he's a very, I don't think I've seen it out of school, adjunct racist. Like he stokes a lot of the flames that we have with conservatives that talk about like the war and warfare or welfare and shit like that. Like he is legitimately a piece of shit. Like it's really weird to have him be the one like, oh, but Christmas is good and needs to be saved. It's like, yeah, but you fucking suck shit. So like, ugh.
But I like even though it was kind of badly said, I still love that. I did chuckle really hard when Evander's like, we shouldn't be fighting. It's so barbaric. And just like, I'm like, aren't you coming over here to beat up a teenager?
Yeah, but you fight professionally.
know, but it just amused me. I'm like, you came over here to beat up a teenager, like, but oh, it was so cool. But yeah, and I do love that this episode, like, even though we don't find out if Will gives up on believing in Santa Claus, I like that this episode is where the child has to be convinced to turn on the Christmas spirit. Because in any other episode, it would have been Will being convinced by Ashley.
Right.
Which I really enjoyed, that little, like, subversion of the story. Because it's like, because Will grew, like, as we mentioned in the past, Will grew up hard. And for him to believe in this sort of magic is such a little, it's such a little adorable thing to me. Because I love that idea, that he is this kid who grew up in a tough neighborhood, but he still is the 17-year-old believing in Santa. I just like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this is a really fun, really fun, really cute episode. Like you said, it's very lighthearted. I do love, like, the kids that come by, like, oh, hey, we're actually people who, like, it feels like they're saying, like, oh, we're actually real people, and we see this.
Yeah,
thing
we
and, like,
are real human beings,
Yeah.
as opposed to the weird Barbies that, like, came into your home. We're real people.
And we like this, and that makes them go, like, oh, maybe we were wrong.
You know what's weird though? Why are they coming through if the guy makes a point to say that usually all the houses in this area suck? So why do they keep coming through?
No, they said it because they saw it off the highway.
Off the highway,
Yeah.
They were
right?
able to see it, which is like, that's like
Griswold level lighting that they saw it, basically.
well, no, like, my thing is, like, that could go really dark. Like, you find this house, yeah, but then, like, what if, like, a serial killer was
Yeah,
like,
what if it was the Saw house?
Because I've
did-
never experienced freeways, so, like, would that have been really, really far from them? Like, what, like...
Oh yeah, there's no highway
Yeah.
near this place, which makes it fun. Like it's there's a double joke there. There's the outside joke that it's visible from the highway, but then, like, there's the secondary Los Angeles joke, which is there's no freeway near Bel-Air, so
Right.
it must have been impossibly bright.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But yeah, I just love that little episode too about this is I put this episode on when we have Christmas time at my house. Like, it's one of the Christmas traditions in my family where we watch Christmas episodes of various shows. So, like, Family Matters, Fresh Prince. I don't know if you guys do it in the States, but we watch the Mr. Bean Christmas special a lot here, and it's and so it was really cute to experience this episode during the plague times right now. So it was really nice to watch. So made me happy.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's definitely a fun episode, and I don't know, it's just like I said, it was nice, and it just felt very calming, especially, like, in this first season, we already had to deal with cops, and we've already had to deal with, like, lying to your fears. Like, oh, here's just a fun episode.
It's just a breezy one.
Yes.
No conflict.
Oh, but we come to the end of the episode, so yeah. And,
Yeah.
Like, I'm hoping that I wish we could see more of Evander Holyfield hanging out with Hillary for some reason. Like, that's what
I just want to know what they talk about. So, Evander Holyfield, man, there's a documentary that talks about Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson's, like, rivalry. It was like a 30 for 30. I forgot the name of it. But Evander Holyfield is a really weird dude because, like, if you're religious, I'm not taking a shot at you, but he believes that God brought him on the earth to fight.
To fight.
People.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. And
that's
like,
his whole purpose.
That's literally his whole purpose in life. So I don't know. Like I said, I just really don't know what he, what they would talk about.
Oh.
Maybe it's like a Kanye deal, like new Kanye now. Like he's preaching to Hillary.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's this episode. Nikki, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We would love to have you on again, especially so you can talk more about LA.
Yes.
But this is the time where we're going to let you just go ahead and plug stuff that you would like to plug.
Oh, hell yeah. I love to plug. You can find me on Twitter at Godsewa, Godsewa. Sorry, my dog is very concerned right now. Hey, it's fine.
Aww.
Hey, it's fine. Hey, it's okay. You can find my dog on Twitter at Barles Barkley, BarlsBarkley. And you can find everything that I do at fanbite.com. Sorry,
yeah,
1 second.
like
She
I said-
literally just ran out of the house.
Yeah, you're good. Like I said, you should definitely follow Nikki on all that stuff. Nikki is really great. Those podcasts that he does with Fanbyte, so good. And Fanbyte's a really good site. You should check it out. And Sonya, do you have anything you would like to promote?
Just the usual things. Twitter, I'm at honey_child. I don't know what I'm doing during the COVID times, but you can find what I'm doing there at any given opportunity. And yeah, I'm just like recording live from my bedroom and eating food right now. So send me a few dollars on PayPal and I'll eat a sandwich.
Mukbang content. That's what we're offering here on Live from the Pool House. You can follow me on Twitter at Travis L. Foster. I do this. I do a video game podcast over at PNB, the PNB Network, PNB.com, PNBcast.com, where we talk about video games very tangentially. And I'm starting a Twitch morning show, so we're going to see how that goes.
Ooh.
And I'm calling it the TL Foster Morning Show in the mornings because
That's a really good. Hey, that's a great
Good
name.
yeah.
I'm going to start at the week after. So it has been going on as you guys hear this recording. Or the week of the recording, I'm going to start that. But yeah, kind of want to do more stuff with Twitch and do more video game stuff. And then, like as I say always, I'm currently writing rom-com, which is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So keep pushing myself. All right, but for Nikki, for Sonya, this has been Live from the Pool House. Don't get thrown out like that.
Oh, Barkley, no.
That was so good. Thanks, y'all.